You don't get what you wish for, not what you post about, not even what you pray for, unless you're willing to bleed for it. You get what you show up for, day in and day out, when no one's watching. You get what you bleed for in silence, not what you flash for attention. People crave comfort. They cling to excuses. They'll say, you deserve rest, but what you really deserve, results. And results don't come from wanting. They come from sacrifice. They show up after you've paid with pain for something that might never pay you back. Most people bleed once and quit. They feel discomfort and pull back. But if you're built different, you're serious. You keep moving, even when it hurts. Because bleeding isn't pretty. It's quiet. It's sore muscles, shaky hands, no recognition, no payout, just raw, unfiltered pain. But that pain is your receipt. It proves you showed up. It's the currency of growth. Hard work beats talent, sure. But bleeding for your dream, that's a different league. It means giving up pieces of yourself. Pride, sleep, comfort, sometimes even people. When you finally rise, they won't see the breakdowns, the exhaustion, the lonely nights. They'll just call you lucky. Let them, because you know better. You earned this through wounds and willpower, through isolation, through moments where quitting would have felt easier than breathing. So if you're going to bleed, bleed for something that matters. Bleed for the version of you no one else believes in. Bleed for freedom, for family, for your name, your legacy, your peace, your fight. Because no one hands you greatness. You build it. You carve your spot with grit and blood. They'll talk. Let them. Just don't let their noise drown out the voice in your head that's pushing you forward. And when it hurts, because it will. When it gets dark, because it always does. Remember this. You get what you bleed for. They won't understand, and they're not supposed to. If they truly understood your pain, your hunger, your obsession, they'd be living it. They'd be you. They'll say you're too intense, too quiet, too cold, too focused, and maybe you are. That's the cost. That's what it looks like to bleed for something. It's not polished. It's not pretty. It's brutal. Everyone wants the outcome. The body, the money, the respect. But no one wants the discipline. No one wants the 4 a.m. alarms, the torn hands, the missed parties, the silence. No one signs up for the grind that guarantees nothing. They want the reward, but forget. Every reward comes with a receipt. Pain, time, sweat, sacrifice. Every goal has a toll, and it's paid in blood. You bleed in silence so you can rise in the noise. And the ones who make it look easy, they suffer the most behind closed doors because they made a choice. They said, I'm not here to be average. They said, I'll bleed for this as long as it takes. That's the difference. Not luck, not talent, not who they know. Just conviction, the unshakable decision to pay the price others won't. The grind isn't a phase, it's a lifestyle. You live there. You clock in whether it's raining, whether you're exhausted, whether everything around you is falling apart. Because if you only work when it's easy, you don't want it. If you only fight when there's applause, you're not serious. Commitment isn't conditional. To bleed means you stay in the fight after being knocked down. Not for praise, not for recognition, but because quitting would cut deeper than any bruise or break. Because you know what's at stake. Freedom, identity, purpose, pride. And if you've ever lived with regret, then you already know. It's the wound that never closes. It lingers. It haunts. So bleed now. Bleed scared. Bleed exhausted. Bleed through doubt. Because the version of you that doesn't, he dies slowly, quietly, forgotten. They don't have to get it. They don't need to believe in you. You show up anyway. You keep going. Because when it's all said and done, when the fog lifts and the dust settles, they'll call it success. But you'll know what it really was. Blood. You ever had to show up when your body said no? When your mind screamed, not today? That's where it happens. That's where the real ones are born. Because success doesn't go to the most talented. It belongs to the most committed. The ones who treat every day like war. Every step earned, every win bled for. No shortcuts, no handouts, no miracles. Just raw, relentless effort. Exhausting, thankless, painful effort. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of hell, but you won't meet him on easy street. You'll meet him after the heartbreak, after the failures, after the 100th no and the 1000th rep. He only appears when you've got nothing left and still choose to go forward. Bleeding doesn't look like a highlight reel. It looks like crying alone in your car after giving everything and coming up short. It looks like walking away from people who don't match your mission. Like sacrificing sleep for reps, comfort for growth, attention for purpose. You want applause? Go perform. You want transformation? Bleed until you're numb, until no one recognizes you, until unbreakable becomes your new normal, because broken is all you've ever known. Nobody hands you your name. You earn it. You carve it into existence with calloused hands and sleepless nights. And when it feels like none of this is working, when your progress is invisible, good, let it be. The strongest forces in the world can't be seen. Discipline, grit, resilience, belief. But when they're built, they move mountains. So don't beg for results, bleed for them. Don't hope to make it. Become someone who refuses not to. And don't waste time explaining your grind to people who've never wanted something badly enough to lose sleep over it. Let them judge, let them misunderstand, let them laugh. Their opinions don't pay your dues. Their noise doesn't carry your weight. This path isn't meant for most. Most fold, most flinch, most fantasize but never act. But not you. You bleed, you rise, you go again. Because you're not chasing a goal, you're becoming a force. And the person you're becoming, they don't need praise, they don't need perfect timing, they just need one reason. So what's yours? What would you bleed for without hesitation? What's the vision that keeps you up at night? What's the goal that makes quitting feel like betrayal? When you find that, you stop running from the pain and run into it. You don't fear the fire. You build your future inside it. And one day, when you've made it through, when the smoke clears and the doubt is gone, when you stand in the ashes of who you used to be, you'll understand. It wasn't luck. It wasn't fate. It was you. And the blood. Always the blood. Nobody claps for the work you do in silence. No one cheers when you wake up early, lace your shoes, and grind in the dark. Nobody sees the tears you wipe away when no one's around. And that's the point. This journey isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about becoming the one who endured what others couldn't, because you were willing to pay the cost. Greatness isn't luck. Champions aren't chosen. They decide. They choose pain now to avoid regret later. They move forward with blistered feet, trembling hands, and a heart that's been broken more times than anyone knows. They put mission above comfort, purpose above ease. That's what bleeding for something really means. It's saying, I don't need the spotlight, I need the work. It's skipping the party, not because you're boring, but because you've got a mountain to climb, and no one's going to carry you up it. No one's handing you wings. You grow them, step by step, through pain, through loss, through those days when through pain. You don't win because you want it. You win because you refuse to stop. That's where the power of obsession comes in. People fear that word. They say find balance, don't burn out, live a little. But you're not here to live a little. You're here to live with purpose. You're here to give everything you've got until reality bends to your will. Most people don't get obsession because they've never had something worth bleeding for. They've never looked in the mirror and said, I'd give up everything for this. They've never seen how discipline breaks chains, how silence speaks truth, how pain brings clarity, how isolation turns into power. And yeah, it hurts, bad, but that's the price. That's the tax you pay to become someone no one can ignore. Because you're not just grinding, you're sculpting, you're rebuilding, you're cutting away the fear and sharpening the edge. This world will test you, try to break you, and if you let it, it will. So you don't. You wake up broken and get up anyway. You fail and keep showing up. You fall and you rise. That's how the uncommon rise. Not because they felt like it, but because they gave their word and lived by it. If you bleed long enough, hard enough, honest enough, you become something else. Not superhuman, just real. Real in a way the world remembers. Real in a way that doesn't flinch, that doesn't quit. So what are you waiting for? A sign? Permission? This is it. Bleed. Bleed for your future. Bleed for your name. Bleed for your place at the table. Bleed until the pain stops scaring you and starts fueling you. Until you become the storm you used to run from. Because in the end, the ones who win aren't the ones born to win. They're the ones who bled for it and never stopped. You've got to stop waiting for the perfect moment. It's not coming. You'll never just feel like it. That's not how champions are built. Champions are forged in discomfort, not motivation. No excuses, no moods, no waiting for a spark. Just a decision, a non-negotiable promise to show up and do the work no matter what. People waste years chasing motivation, scrolling through videos, quotes, playlists, speeches, hoping something lights a fire. But motivation fades. Action is what changes you. Action creates momentum, and once you start bleeding for something, you don't need a pep talk. You don't need anyone. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you've chosen. And you've chosen to bleed. That means when it hurts, you push. When it's silent, you train louder. When no one believes in you, you believe harder. Because it's in those exact moments when most people quit that your future is being built. And let them scroll. Let them relax. Let them chase comfort while you chase growth. And growth lives in pressure, in failure, in discomfort, in blood. There's a reason they say blood, sweat, and tears. That's the real formula. That's what separates the obsessed from the average. And once you start living like it all matters, like your life is on the line, things change. You walk different. You speak with intent. You start believing in things no one else can see, because you show up for them daily. You bleed for them. You know what's easier than bleeding? Blaming, making excuses, complaining. That's why most people never get what they want. They're too busy pointing fingers instead of raising fists. So raise your fists. Fight for what's yours. Not later. Not when it's easy. Now. Your story isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to commit. Get serious. About your goals, your time, your life. Because this is it. No do-overs, no safety net. The clock is ticking, and it doesn't care if you're tired, scared, or bleeding. It just keeps moving. So you've got two options. Let the time break you, or use it to become someone unbreakable. Someone who refuses to die with potential still locked inside. Someone who doesn't just wish, they work. Someone who doesn't just want it, they bleed for it. Life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you earn, what you suffer for, what you rise for, what you fight for, every damn day. It gives you what you bleed for. There's something different about someone who's bled for what they've built. They walk with purpose. They speak with weight. They see life through a sharper lens, because every inch of their progress was earned, not handed. You don't develop that edge through comfort. You don't gain that mindset from scrolling feel-good quotes. You forge it in the cold, under pressure, when you're still grinding long after your energy's gone. That's where it all shifts. When you're empty, but keep going anyway. Most people stop at empty. Champions push through it. They understand that empty isn't the end. It's the start of the real work. When your legs are shaking, your chest is pounding, and your mind is screaming to quit, that's the moment that builds the future. That's the moment that sharpens you. You want to be unbreakable? Then be ready to break. Through the lies, through the fear, through the version of you the world tried to assign. Bleeding isn't just about pain. It's about release. It's letting go of who you were, the lazy one, the hesitant one, the version that needed motivation just to move. That's not you anymore. You're self-fueled, powered by vision, driven by discipline, fueled by what you see in your mind and are willing to suffer for in your life. And when people tell you to slow down, to relax, to take it easy, you smile, because they don't get it. They don't understand hunger like yours. They've never poured their whole heart into something with no guarantee of return. They've never woken up early and gone to war for a dream that only existed in their head. That's the difference. You don't need to see it to believe it. You believe it, and that's exactly why you will see it. That belief, that fire, that's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you uncommon. Not the muscles, not the status, not the likes. It's the way you show up without needing applause. You don't wait for motivation, you bleed for it. Because you made yourself a promise, and you refuse to break it. So stop explaining. Stop trying to make people understand your obsession. You don't owe them clarity. You owe yourself the results. Keep going, keep climbing, keep bleeding. Because on the other side of this pain is a version of you the world hasn't met yet. The one who wins, the one who lasts, the one who stood tall when every voice said quit. Let them quit. Let them wait. Let them rest. You get what you bleed for.